This week at Bungie saw the return of Lord Saladin and the Iron Banner, as well as a new look for some of the Iron Banner gear. Hopefully some of you guys noticed that. But in this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly Blog, This Week at Bungie, we're learning a bit about how the experiment of some of those changes last week in Trials actually went. Hint, hint, not very well. But don't take my word for it, let's dive on into exactly what Bungie had to say in this week's TWAB. What's going on, Guardians? My name is the Black Link, and let's go ahead and see exactly what Bungie had to say this time around. Last weekend, we tried out some changes to matchmaking in Trials of Osiris. We shifted to a system that put some focus on overall wins, pushing players into different buckets depending on how much they had played and won on a given weekend. While we are incredibly happy with the amount of data we were able to collect, oh boy, you know it's coming, this matchmaking system did not meet the goals that we had established last Thursday. I almost recall saying that something like this was going to happen last Thursday. As we continue to hone in on what settings we would like for Trials overall, we appreciate all who have been hopping in for a few cards and sounding off with feedback. Pairing data with player feedback and experiences is key to continued success. Then they follow this up by saying, today, the team will be going through our findings and speaking to some upcoming changes when Trials returns on November 12th. And here's some of their findings. Compared to 3 weeks ago, average matchmaking time was up by about 10 seconds. But if you are on the bleeding edge of win counts, your matchmaking times could easily be anywhere between 2 minutes to over 5. Way too long in my opinion. Overall games played were down about 33%, and the blowout rate went up slightly to 28%. Solo play went up a bit, and fireteam play, either exclusively or part-time, went down by about a third. Low to average skill players, however, played about the same, or a bit more, whereas high skill players played significantly less, with the highest skilled cohort playing 2 hours less on average than in previous weeks. A number that has otherwise been very consistent in most revamp weeks, as well as most weeks in previous seasons. With all this, while there are some positives, most of the data is either negative or neutral, combined with the feedback on social media channels, of which there was much. This has fueled our decision to move back to purely card-based matchmaking with a flawless pool for the foreseeable future. Tune in next week for a Trials Lab pre-brief and details on some other plans we have for the mode between now and the Witch Queen. Now, there's a little bit to unpack here, of course. There are a lot of opinions about Trials last week, with the replacement of the flawless pool with this new win-based matchmaking. And as I expressed last week with some of my fears about what this was going to do to the game mode, did not go over well. I will give Bungie props for addressing it here in this TWAB. They could have very easily just not talked about it until next week's TWAB when they're going to be bringing up whatever the new Trials Lab is going to be. So I'm very happy that they addressed it here, but these are some pretty seriously negative numbers. Overall games being down by 33% is just something you can't ignore. I think when it comes to Trials, I'll say what I've been saying over the last couple of weeks. I know you guys are probably sick and tired of it. Bungie, you had a pretty good formula when you first started the Trials revamp. Maybe start making changes that move us back towards what we had then. Overall, I think that's a more healthy system than certainly what we got last week. But I am looking forward to hearing more about these changes moving forward. But it's not all about the bad news of Trials this week. We've got some brand new Bungie bounties going live. For those who've never participated in these, here's a quick rundown of Bungie bounties. Every so often, Bungie sets their sights on specific members of the community and they issue a challenge. If you match against those individuals, do everything in your power to steal the win from their clutches. Or if you match with them on your fire team, watch their back and help them to achieve victory. Whether they're on your team or against you, winning the match will result in a fancy emblem being granted to your account, and then you'll get a chance to see that here. And this time around, the bounty's going to be a worldwide affair. We've got a ton of different community members who are going to be up for Bungie bounties in the coming weeks. All of which are listed out in a short calendar that Bungie's got up in the TWAB itself. Of course, you'll be able to find a link to that down in the description box below. This is going to begin on November 8th with a couple of our favorites, Fallout Plays, Amaze, and Leopard Stealth. These Bungie bounties are going to go on until November 20th, so you'll have plenty of time and plenty of time zones to go after these people and get yourself an emblem. And with that, I definitely wish you luck on the hunt. Alright, beyond that, the only other big bit of news to cover in this week's TWAB is the fact that we've got a brand new batch of Prime Gaming rewards available. For those who have never done this, if you've got an Amazon and Twitch Prime account, you can link that account to Destiny to get free Eververse rewards on basically a monthly basis. So, what's available this time around? First up is the Cup of Tea exotic emote, then the Grateful Crane exotic sparrow, the Intrepid Shell exotic ghost shell, and the Technical Meltdown legendary ship. Once you've signed up for Prime rewards and linked your Bungie account, you can head to Amanda Holiday in the Tower to pick these up. Make sure you get it done before next month. Oh, and by the way, Bungie's got a brand new member of their community team in Mrs. Queen Bartley, who, along with her husband Sean Bartley, are some pretty good friends. Head over to their social media pages and congratulate her on the new job. But beyond that, that's pretty much all the big bits of news contained in this week's issue of the Bungie Weekly blog, This Week at Bungie. How did you feel about Trials last weekend? How would you approach changing the game mode and making it a more rewarding and welcoming experience? Be sure to leave me your thoughts down in the comment section below. And if you enjoyed the video, feel free to drop a like, make sure you subscribe, and hit that notification bell to stay up to date with all the latest stuff we're putting out. I'm out for now. Thank you all so much for watching, and as always, I am the Black Link. You Guardians, stay frosty.